market is about $583 billion worldwide, according to the World Bank. This is mainly consists of cash-in, cash-out remittance vendors, not so much banks, and it's almost exclusively the growth is occurring in emerging markets around Asia, Africa, and so on. So bitspark deals in many of the remittance corridors within Asia. We deal in 6 remittance corridors. That's mainland China, Hong Kong, Australia, Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia. For us as a Hong Kong-based company, our largest markets are the Philippines and Indonesia. These markets are about 26 billion per year in terms of remittances for the Philippines, and it's about 13 billion for Indonesia as well. So these are large markets. These are cash-based markets. These are places where people don't have bank accounts generally. So most of the time, the means to send money to these markets is using these cash vendors, these places like a Western Union, a physical remittance shop. So I guess most people are, when they associate remittances or sending money, perhaps systems like a Western Union come to mind. This means physically visiting a shop and handing over cash, and generally your recipient at the other end receives the cash anywhere from a few hours to a few days or even weeks in some cases. It also involves banks as well. However, in many emerging markets, many people don't have bank accounts. So conducting remittances via bank accounts online, it doesn't really make sense. So especially in the growth regions of Asia and Africa, remittances they're offline. They're cash-based models. These are physical small shops that are conducting remittances via whatever platform that they use currently. In most cases, they might be using their own systems as the back end. In some cases, they might be using larger remittance networks, and they might be a franchise of that network. For the customers that are dealing with these markets, they generally don't need to know about that. They just need to know that their money's going to arrive at the other end. And usually there's a partner at the other end that can receive their cash. Maybe it's a bank. Maybe it's a pickup store, maybe it's a 7-Eleven. So cost is a challenge for sending remittances overseas. There is a barrier to entry there. In some cases, costs can range from 3% to 20% for sending money overseas, at very high costs. Also, there's limits and restrictions on the amount that you can send in a single transaction. So for example, you might not be able to send smaller amounts of money overseas. You might have to send larger amounts because there's a limit on how much you can send. And of course, many of these cash-in and cash-out providers charge a flat fee. In the case of Hong Kong, the fee is generally about 25 Hong Kong dollars. So if you only want to send 100 Hong Kong dollars, that's a 25% fee. It's quite large. So these fees don't scale with the amount that you're sending, which is an issue. So that is one of the challenges. I guess another challenge is having the appropriate means to pick up the cash at the other end. In the case of our markets, the Philippines, Indonesia, some of our key markets, in the case of Indonesia, people usually pick up money from post offices. There's usually a post office in every village. Even rural places generally have a post office. However, maybe they don't have a bank. So one of the challenges is connecting into this network of these local means to pick up money at the other end. In the Philippines, it's usually private businesses, cash pickup shops that are receiving the money at the other end. So you have to connect to those networks, and people have to have X shop in their local village, wherever that may be. So cost, accessibility, I guess, are the key challenges for remittances. Yeah, so blockchain technology refers to the technology of cryptocurrency. In our case, we might talk a little bit about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Bitcoin is a digital currency. It's a way for people to transact value around the world very easily, instantly, for free, to send money. And blockchain itself is the technology that facilitates those payments. So blockchain is the way for tracking payments, for managing payments, for initiating transfers. This is what it entails by blockchain technology. So what we're using blockchain technology for is to convey payments to other countries overseas quickly, instantly, and with less friction than before. The user doesn't need to know anything about the intricacies of the technology in order to send it. It's simply just cash in and cash out.